So which vintage patterns would I pick if simplicity let me have even the smallest amount of say? I'm so glad you asked. Here are 21 different categories with all of them that I have chosen. And today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, but more on them in a little bit. First up, aprons that we would actually sew. What an idea! I know, right? Who am I? Now, I'm not saying that Simplicity hasn't put out some very cute little aprons from the vintage section. However, there are cuter ones, like these. You got Simplicity 1359 with the cutest little heart bib, and then some crazy appliques with Simplicity 1846. 2751 coming in strong with the stitching pocket. You're a sewing pattern company. Why do you not have a pocket for sewing pattern shenanigans on an apron? This just... it doesn't make sense. Moving on to accessories and detachable items. That's right, folks. Vintage patterns used to have buttons in specific places so that you could attach or detach different pieces to make it feel like a different piece of clothing. What an idea. Super sustainable and really heckin' cute. And now also, since those count as accessories, let me just show you some of the choice accessories that I would start by reproducing, starting with this magnificent dog jacket. 0 notes, 10 out of 10, would reproduce immediately. And of course, all of these. And then here's an idea. We know we don't have the patterns to these anymore, right? Right, we've all acknowledged that. However, what if you did better than your predecessors? There's Simplicity. What if instead in these glorious images where these fantastic hats that never come with the stinking pattern, that drives me nuts every time, you could include them now. We would love that. I mean, come on, just look at these glorious hat patterns that just are on these dress patterns, but no hat
is included.
No hat for you. What is this, the crazy soup guy? No. Do better than your predecessors, include the hats. Moving on to one of my favorite categories, big pockets. All the pocket patterns, every single one of them. If you see a vintage pattern that has a gigantic pocket, I want it reproduced like yesterday, right now. They're so good. Some of these look like you could fit wine bottles in them. And listen, can you think of a better day than going out and enjoying a luxurious picnic, and then instead of worrying about having to carry all of your picnic basket plus all of the wine accoutrement, what if you just had pockets for that? I think that's a 10 out of 10 idea, and you can have it on this for free. Simplicity. And we can't mention big pockets without big sleeves. Yes, I want all of the sleeves. And no, I am not talking about the 1980s shenanigans. No, I want the 1940s and 1950s. Because where do you think the 80s got the inspiration from? That's right, the 50s. Do you see these glorious things? Like, just look at how magnificent these sleeves are. There's literally not one of these that I would not make just because of that sleeve. And from big sleeves to big ideas, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare, because I have got so much on my plate right now that a lot of times it's overwhelming. And unfortunately, one of the biggest things that is overwhelming for me is editing these videos. These right here, the ones you're watching right now. So what I am doing is I am utilizing Skillshare to help me edit faster and better. And one of the particular challenges that I have is, well, color grading. I actually don't color grade a daggone thing on this channel because most of the time when I try it ends up looking like hot garbage. But what I decided to do was to take DaVinci Resolve 15 Tips from a Pro Colorist by Fred Trevino, because I really hope that he was actually able to teach me something. And while I really enjoyed digging into the class, there was a couple really big takeaways that actually allowed me to realize how to color grade this video. Oh, right. There you go. And so because I'm taking the time to up-level my video output, hopefully that means that all of you will enjoy my content just a little bit more. And especially as summer kicks in, and so I actually, unlike everyone else, have less time because I really enjoy prioritizing my family and making sure that we spend time together during the summer while my child is off from school. So that means I have to get better and faster at editing these videos. But if you do find that you have more time this summer, invest in yourself and your goals by starting a learning journey with Skillshare to take your career, your hobby, or your side hustle up a level. So make sure that you're clicking the link down below because the first 500 people that click that link get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So why don't you get started today? And I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now back to the pattern. And now, of course, we cannot forget about the little ones, the weest of the sort. The sewing for the tiny humans of tiniest proportions looks so cute in tiny bubble sun rompers. So if I had been sewing at my time for my child, she would have had an entire wardrobe full of these things. Not even joking, because we already lived in Florida by the time she was 2, so she could have absolutely, oh, so cute. And from the smallest to the billowiest, that's right, let's make sure that we are reproducing some really good coats, because there are not a small amount to choose from. From little capelet sleeves with hoods to giant swing coats to princess line double-breasted. There's so many good ones to pick from. And from the capes to the cottage, there are so many good cottagecore patterns that y'all aren't remaking because you stop in the 70s. Stop it. Go back farther. Between the ruffles, the sleeves, the pinafore style, what do you think the 40s are for? They're literally right there for you. They're just waiting for you to pick them up and make them for modern sizing. What an idea. Please do this. I'm really sorry if my necklace keeps hitting that. And from the field to the sea, I want the bubble skirt to come back. Yes, I realize that reference doesn't work, but we're going with it. Bubble skirts to me they're like a tie between really hilarious and just extra on all the different ways. And let's be real, if we're dressing to make ourselves happy, I cannot think of a better way to do that than to romp around in a little bubble skirt that goes ba-doop, 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 right along with you as you're walking along. Like, there's a reason why I wear skirts that twirl. Also the same reason why I want to make a bubble skirt, because I want to see it do the bouncing thing. I just need to find the right fabric so that it does the correct motion that is in my head that I want to put into reality. And speaking of interesting clothing, let's go into interesting detailed dresses. Now, I want to be very clear here. This is a wide category because there are so many good ones. Between fitted waists, gathering details, scallops, the like, I love vintage dresses with all those really interesting details. Why do we have a dress that has 2 diagonal points, one on the bust, one on the hip? I don't know, but I think it's stinking cute. So instead of going back and just picking like the absolute most extra or the most basic, let's try a middle of the road here. Throwing it out there for you. What if we actually try some of these? And I know you all are gonna come in here and say that they're trying. There's some new empire waist ones that, I get that. But there's so many more, and there's so many better ones that they could be doing. And that's a hill that I'm willing to die on. And speaking of the big companies giving us vaguely what we want, but not quite. Hi, it's me again. I'm the problem. I understand that you just redid for Vogue the DVF 50th anniversary wrap dress. And I'm still a little nervous. Haven't gotten mine in yet, but it's on its way. We'll see how that actually goes. But can we do one for the regular line? Do you realize how many good wrap dresses that Simplicity put out that isn't the crappy Butterwork walkaway dress, because I have gone over that so many times on this channel already. But there are so many good wrap dresses that were from the 40s, the 50s. Why are we not doing any of those? And instead we're giving us whatever this is.
No! God, please, no! No!
And now this next category might just be one of my specialty niches, but I would love to see the good sailor fits come back in. Because especially in the 40s, you would see all that advertising for the Navy, the Army, and all of that, and then they would make dresses for at home to feel like they were part of the wartime effort. So sailor dresses were really friggin' popular. Also, just like the collars are extra. And I swear to heavens, if you bring back those 1980s versions that are absolute monstrosities, that's not what we want. No, stop it. And speaking of the menfolk, that's right. Let's up the ante on the vintage menswear because it's kind of lacking. And I understand that when you look for particular eras of men's sewing patterns, you typically find boring button-up shirts or pajamas. I get that. But guess what? A little bit of research and some diving onto the Vintage Pattern Wiki, and you realize, oh, there's this whole wealth of other styles. And since y'all just go off line drawings, can we try? Because look at this. Look at this gloriousness. And this one. And this one. They're all so good. And I fully understand that not every person that wears menswear necessarily wants to go completely period. However, you cannot tell me there is not a market for this somewhere, somehow. I disagree. There is a market for this pattern. Spectacular. And now diving back into the women's side of things, I would like to personally see more separates patterns. But not just, here's a blouse, here's some shorts, call it a day, and make them pay double. No, I would like to see the whole package. I would like to see patterns like this, where they included literally everything that you see. The blouse, the cummerbund, the pants, multiple styles, different ways to make it. We love that. That's spectacular. Please do more of that. And don't be afraid of the summer sets too. Yes, they are harder to find, but trust me when I say, as a vintage pattern seller, those sell the best because that's what people want to make. Trust me, I cannot keep play suits and two-piece sets and vintage swimwear in my shop. I just can't. It's literally, I list it, it leaves. That's how it goes. So maybe take the hint. I know I can't wink. I'm really sorry for what you just witnessed. And inside these lovely packets, what if one of them or multiples of them included some of these spectacular statement blouses? I don't usually wear two pieces. I'm usually a dress, on body, out the door type of gal. However, I would make an excuse to wear some of these. From the interesting yokes to the giant sleeves to whatever is really happening here with all the darts along this center. I mean, it's definitely an interesting look. I have no idea how it would look on, but that is an intriguing look for sure. You have so many statement blouses back in your catalog, especially when you hit back into the 50s and the 40s and the 30s. They really enjoyed all those really intricate details. So why don't you bring that into modern day sewing instead of us trying to like slapdash some stuff together and make it work? Also, please bring back pedal busts. I love them. Zero notes. Love them so much with the little like, and to go along with the blouses, why don't we also try some really snazzy vintage shorts? Yes, I understand you already have one, but you do know that there were different versions, right? Because holy mercy, there are so many versions of vintage shorts patterns. And you can combine them with a statement blouse and make a separates pattern. See where I'm going with this? We're going for bang for the buck here. And now while I do not participate in the work office culture, even when I was a stage manager, there was no work attire, there was no three-piece, two-piece suits, absolutely not. So that's not my forte. However, I can tell you that there are some spectacular suit patterns between the back button detail and just the overall attention to detail that some of these patterns bring is just magnificent and really should be brought into what is left of work culture should you choose to wear a suit. I know a lot of companies are getting away from that, and that's great, and I love that for you. But if you want to, these are good options. And from the office to the weekend, super wide leg pants, anybody? Yes, please! Yes, please. This is one of the few times that I will tell you. The 1970s. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes, indeed, folks. I was that awkward teenager that when bell bottoms came back in style, I absolutely bought the biggest ones that I could find and was ridiculed in junior high. Between the idea of a romper or just in generally like the super wide leg elephant ear pants. Elephant ear? Elephant bells? Did I just make something up? Very possible. Whoops. And now if you have made it this far, welcome to the extra section. That's right, the other sections weren't extra enough. This is now the extra section because everything in here is extra, extra. What's that silly show that used to... Anyway, I don't watch cable anymore. Starting with over-the-top nightgowns and housecoats / house dresses. Because let me tell you, the number of patterns from the 1930s through the 1950s that I have just either had in my possession or have come through and found new homes. The number of times that they say nightgown or day dress. I'm not kidding. It actually says that. You cannot tell me that this would not have a market. You cannot tell me I will not. Nope, I disagree. This absolutely has a market, and why we are not utilizing it is beyond me. So please go find them and make them correctly. Thank you, love me, and all of us. I don't know what it's doing with the hands tonight. Speaking of over the top, ball gowns! And not just from Vogue. Vogue, listen, I love me a good Vogue pattern, but the number of times that those have 20 some odd plus pattern pieces and go together, questionably, at least on my end, because I'm not the most skilled at the ball gown. However, Simplicity, believe it or not only made very cute ball gowns, they're pretty easy to put together because simplicity, it's in your name. So I advise going back into the archives and finding the most extra crap that you can find, fully understanding that you don't actually have archives, that your archives are pretty much our archives that are online, and maybe you have a little bit more, but not really. But either way, there's images out there. Please use them and reproduce them. Because who doesn't want to be a giant walking cupcake? I know I would. I'm bringing it back to the beach. That's right, you thought I was done talking about swimwear. Oh, no. Because not only do I want them to bring back more vintage swimwear, I also want them to bring back the beach pajama. Because listen, when it's done right, 1, great sun coverage, way less chance of skin cancer on most of your body. 2, you make it out of the right material and it's gonna breathe and it's gonna feel good. Why wouldn't you make these things? And 3, they're super fun to like kick around the beach in. I made a black set a while ago. The only thing that I did wrong was I chose to make it out of a polyester. Don't do that. 0 out of 10. However, 10 out of 10 for flouncing around in a black beach pajama because I don't actually like going to the beach. And I like the color black. And finally, the last category that you really, really need to do. And I'm bringing you this in real close. Bring it in real close. Bring it up. Okay, a little too close. 2 words. If you can guess it, comment down below. Those words are gunny sacks. Because why haven't you done this yet? Now, I fully understand that there is probably some type of rights between the Jessica McClintock estate and Simplicity that they are probably hashing out. But let me tell you, when I say the gunny sacks fervor you will have on your hands. You think cottagecore in 2020 was big. If you actually start reproducing the gunny sacks, oh my goodness. I'm not saying it would save your company from some questionable financial decisions, but I'm also not saying that because some of these patterns are actually quite spectacular and they're very well loved. There's a very rabid collector market for these, but she wasn't known for being the most size inclusive. So if you, Simplicity, were to bring that to the masses now, right now, you would have on your hands a gold mine. So yeah, that is what I would pick if I were allowed to be in charge of Simplicity for even like an hour. I would just be like shoving ideas at them as quickly as possible before they like kick me out of the building with using security. And I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to click the link in my description because the first 500 people to click the link and sign up for Skillshare will get 1 month free trial. If you enjoyed all these ideas today, but you would like to actually see me make something that's from a vintage plus size pattern, I advise you watch that video right there where I made a dress to go to Atlanta Frocktails, and YouTube and its infinite algorithm thinks you'll like that one right there. And I'll see you next time for some more sewing and chaos. Only way to do this is through this. This is so weird. It's dark outside. I left that stupid light on the whole time. One side of me is going to be very orange. Crap.